Hi.
We're talking about the Olympics.
Yes.
We're very original.
We are talking about Olympics, which in other languages can be pronounced as Olympics, Olympics, and Olympics.
Or Olympics.
Or
is that just photos from it?
What?
Or Olympics. Or is that just photos from it? Kill me.
Anyway, this is Let's Talk About the Olympics, if you haven't guessed already. Stickman is not here today because he is a douche.
He's out there being a little bitch.
He doesn't want to be part of it, so it's just going to be me and him. Just me and him. Me and him. Anyway.
Let's get this train wreck of a video on with.
Okay, so we're talking about the Olympics. So if you guys don't know what the Olympics is, what country do you live in? Seriously, like it's been everywhere.
The most overhyped sport event ever. Well,
Sporting events.
Yeah, sporting events.
Anyway, so
big narration and big mistakes.
Anyway, so basically, first things first, Olympics, we have to explain it because that's part of the general thing. It's when they host a bunch of sports from hundreds of different countries and then to compete to see which country is the overall best in majority of the sports. Simple as that. And we're going to be talking about the good things and the bad things about the Olympics. Anyway, do you want to start with good or bad?
Good.
Okay, we'll start with the good things.
Good things, brings a lot of countries together, usually does well for the country it's hosted in, not Rio. Anyway, interesting, good TV, better than Kardashians, so...
Yeah. Other good things, it brings a chance to show off like your best sports people, because sports are going to be played in any country regardless. It gives you your chance to show off and prove to the world, like, come to this country, we've got the best footy players, we've got the best ice hockey players, and overall it's really fun. It makes a lot of people happy and it tends to go pretty smoothly, except for this year. But
on to the bad.
On to the bad.
Entire Olympics this year.
Just
the Rio Olympics if you're watching this.
For Rio Olympics if you're watching this in the future or if you live under a rock.
First of all, there's a mistake in putting in Rio, a city that's overpopulated before the massive tourism.
Yeah, a city that's overpopulated, underfunded, the average income is way below anything that could afford it, and then chucking a massive stadium in. Number one, the issue with that stadium was instead of getting, if they got local workers in, it wouldn't be that bad because they'd provide thousands of jobs. But they always got international workers in. They've got designers, they've got architects, they've got all these sort of people, engineers. They all came in. Only about 1% of the actual construction crew was actually Brazilian, which is just annoying because then there's no jobs. All the money is going overseas to build a stadium in their country.
And then there's the problem of the crime rates.
Crime rates reached, bag snatchings on beaches reached a record high that Rio has ever seen. They have never seen.
And it was bad before.
And it was already like 1 or 2 people's stuff got stolen. It's literally, if you go to a beach, you guarantee you get stuff stolen. The Olympic camp itself got broken into.
Several times.
Multiple times. People's gear getting stolen. And just everything in general about this Olympics, it was... When they consider where to host an Olympics, they take a few factors into place. The money and the tourism. And the Rio government had money and they've got tourism. But what they don't take into fact is how it will affect under-average and average people's lives in that country.
It severely unbalanced the economy, with the rich getting more money and the poor losing more.
Yeah,
which they couldn't afford to lose.
And all the pollution and all the trash left over by foreigners, people don't consider it, but foreign diseases brought in and bacteria brought in is what you may not realise. It's sort of like, if you know about Bali belly for Australians, is that the bacteria itself isn't harmful normally. It's just that we have different bacteria, and we're chucking so much crap into it's already polluted in the bad spots. Like in the city it's pretty beautiful, but all in the bad spots, they don't have high-tech desalinization plants, and they don't have good ways to decontaminate. It's very bad hygiene, the bad parts. Like, not against Rio, they just can't, the average person can't afford to have all these fancy things. They catch the viruses so easily.
And then the population. By itself, Rio is usually severely overpopulated. Then bring in the tourism brought from the Olympic Games, then it's just way too many people.
Mm. And if you heard about how they're clearing out certain spots for like buildings and stuff, and we're going to go back to like the average income of poor, is the average income of poor decreases not only due to the loss of jobs and everything and all the tourists, is when the tourists fluctuate in, stores naturally raise their prices, naturally, well that's just good business, but when an average like Rio citizen comes along,
They can't afford
they
it.
can't afford it, or if they do buy it because they've got no other choice, like it's like bread or rice or whatever they have, it's just the price is a lot higher than usual, so more and more of their money is going out because of foreigners. They just don't factor in the people.
At all. Plus then after everyone leaves, they start, any expenses that they've increased, the shop owners have increased, they have to try and get back to where it was to make up for the fact that they're not getting as much income as they were during the 2 weeks of the Olympics.
Which in fact most of them can't cope with. It's so difficult, and after they left they made this entire renovated stadium and stuff,
Yeah, they're going to be used again, I reckon.
and the only thing that I can think that'd be used for is a big world soccer tournament sort of things and big soccer finals
Which
and
would
stuff.
raise the same problems.
Exactly.
Then there's the other problem of the controversy in the actual Olympics.
Yeah, we haven't actually gone into the actual Olympics, but we don't want to go too deeply into it because there's so much going on. But
One example, there was a big complaint over one of the runners diving across a line to win. Should that be allowed? Should not.
exactly, and one problem, I'll go back to the start of the Olympics, is the Olympic torch this year. A lot of people were thinking quite spectacular, but the torch shouldn't be about artifacts around it. It should be about the fire itself and how it's represented. They had such a colourful and amazing entrance, and then when they lit the fire, it was just a cauldron with fire in it. And the amount of fireworks that went off, they were cool at the start, but then they went on and on and on, and the entire air was just polluted. All you could see was flashes of red smoke in the end, and that would have polluted everything so badly. On top, that took all the focus away from the Olympic torch. Like look in Sydney, when they had the waterfall in, and then they had the ring of fire with a woman athlete running up, and like it was all celebrating 100 years of women in the
She
Olympics.
also the first Aboriginal.
Yeah, first Aboriginal Olympian as well. And it was such a ring of fire circulating everything. It was such a cool event. Or the one in 1980 something, where to celebrate archery, obviously, they lit a flaming arrow and fired it such a great distance up into the Olympic torch. It was all about the torch. This one, it was just, they just funneled it, all the attention to the fireworks. It was like, look at the fireworks.
Wrong fire, apparently.
And they just ignored the fire completely. And in the actual events this year, you can tell so many events have been failures as well. Like, just in general stuff, the Russian team, as you all know, you probably don't know if you censored or anything, half the team got done for doping, and
When
Got
all the
moved.
athletes removed from one of the countries, apparently.
yeah, there was a few other countries that got moved. The person who was meant to carry the torch out originally actually gave up on the last minute. The secondary person had to carry the torch. He was still cool and everything. It's still an inspiration.
Except for the failure of the opening ceremony.
Yeah.
And another problem is all the hate it promotes towards each other. Like I saw a comment, like someone said, maybe next time we should paint our skin black so we can win in the gymnastics because a coloured person won instead of a white person, and they obviously claimed racism.
Yeah, it's...
White privilege.
At the same time, it brings countries together. It also brings countries that don't like each other together. Like any natural-born rivalries between any... For example, not saying we have any offence to anything, again, we don't want to offend anyone, but if a communist country and a capitalist country team sort of was near each other, they may be very patriotic, and there's nothing wrong with being patriotic, but they have opposite ideals pretty much.
See, you know what? Just click on the link in the description that's probably going to say Fanatic Let's Talk.
Yeah,
Because that just links back to that.
it links back to that as well. That'll be in the description below as well.
Can you guess that we hate fanatics?
Yeah, but yeah, just the entire Olympics in general, they've just seemed so, it's all seemed disorganised, nothing seemed to flow together.
The stadium wasn't even finished till like the week before the Olympics, was
Yeah,
it?
the stadium, it took too long to build. And just, what they should really do is when they pick a country, a host country to be in, it should be economically stable before the Olympics, and which Rio wasn't to start with.
And sustainable after the Olympics.
And sustainable during the Olympics when the big flux is in, make sure it's stable during them, so that all the lower class citizens can still have a nice life. And after the Olympics, when they've got a big stadium there, if they've built it or if they haven't built it, if they're going to actually use that stadium or if you just gotta leave it behind and just ruin your economy pretty much trying to maintain it.
Yeah. And then I'm sure there's a lot of things I can think of.
There's probably plenty of other things going on as well. There are all controversies and any injuries as well. That's another thing really big is the injuries and the stress it can put on the actual competitors.
Yeah, like the gymnast who broke her leg in
Oh,
his
it's
leg.
Okay. Yeah, it's got.
I don't think of female, I think gymnast.
Doesn't matter. But anyway, like, you always hear about, oh my god, I want a gold medal, here's my inspirational journey, and those are very, very inspirational. But the people who lose, you don't think about, like, they've travelled all this way to lose by, like, the slightest amount.
And it's always the slightest margin, especially in any races.
Especially in stuff like a 100-metre sprint, it's like 0.1 second or less difference. Unless someone's breaking like a world record, like a Usain Bolt.
Then usually they are still, like,
even then
they're
they're
like
only
3
winning by
silvers
0.2.
breaking world records
Mm.
before, but the gold person still broke their record off.
Yeah, but it's just, it's so difficult to watch knowing it. Like, yeah, fireworks, yeah, gold medalist, but you gotta think on the other side of it, the poor people, the people who don't make it. There were 3 teams in the Olympics which only had 2 people in it. And I know those teams didn't win anything and they just basically went for no purpose at all. There was no big team celebration. It was just the 2 of those people going, trying their hardest and losing. And then you go home and the family's going to be like, yeah, you went to the Olympics. And everyone will be cheering them. But at the same time, they still haven't actually won anything. It's just depressing for some people. You hear about all the time how Olympians just go back and they're so depressed after.
Exactly.
If you know what you're saying.
I think that about wraps it up. We can bitch about the Olympics for 10 minutes or something.
10 minutes so. One last thing I want to say is the Olympians, I know this is going to sound really, really bad, some people are probably going to yell at me for it. The Olympians don't get paid enough for winning gold. They only get about 20 to 30,000 for winning the gold. It's like $20 to $30,000, that's a lot. If you think about it, they've trained for 4 years endlessly, and they're winning this 1 gold medal. That's meant to be their paycheck for the entire time. Sure, they get everything paid for pretty much, but for example, the American gold medalists, they have to pay $9,000 on tax off that. So they're only getting 11 back, which is actually like nothing pretty much. But all that for 4 years just to go to the Olympics, and you're coming back with, if you win 2 gold medals and you got to pay taxes to say like $30,000 for 4 years of effort and training, I don't really think it's enough.
And that's only if it's your first Olympics for the 4 years.
Yeah, that's only if it's your
8 years.
first Olympics. If you've been training for multiple Olympics and you haven't won much, then you just, there's no point. Sure, they win other smaller races and they get sponsors so they don't have to really pay for anything. But you got to think about their lifestyle. Like, the only people who are actually making a ton of money off this are the organisers and the corporate people.
And the flight deals.
And the flight deals and everything, like all the people who organise to and from transport and all the ceremonies and stuff, they're getting paid double, triple, and even some of them quadruple the amount that anyone else, any of the competitors, any of the citizens, any of the stores, any of them getting paid. It's always the corporate people that profit off it. Anyway, I think that's all I have to say.
And also the fact that it's just dragged on. How many years have they been doing it?
Yeah, they just drag it on too much. Anyway, we'll see you guys in the next video.
Bye.